Your television is watching you. A euthanasia drug shows up inside some dog foods, and manufacturers of cosmetics fight for a share of the booming market for men. It's SkyWatchTV for Wednesday, February 8th, 2017. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, anonymous posters criticizing Pope Francis showed up around Rome over the weekend, accusing Pope Francis of attacking conservative Catholics. They were quickly covered up by city authorities in Rome. No comment from the Vatican. But a Jesuit priest close to the Pope tweeted that it was a sign Francis was doing a good job because he was clearly annoying some people. Sanitation crews in North Dakota, also busy at the site of the Dakota Access Pipeline protest, trying to clean up literally tons of trash, hundreds of tons of trash left behind by protesters. State and tribal crews rushing to clean up debris before the weather warms up and the trash turns toxic. With the melting snows and a flooded river would come all of this debris being washed downstream and becoming health hazards for others in the area. This is why tribal officials ask the protesters to please go away. They say it may, and of course, the irony being that they were there to protest to protect the environment. It may take as many as 250 truckloads to get rid of all of the trash left behind. The U.S. is falling behind Russia in the Arctic Circle. This is according to Senator Dan Sullivan, Republican from Alaska. And this opinion, by the way, is shared by our friend Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, author of the book Future War, which we highly recommend. Senator Sullivan says Russia has recently built 14 airfields in Arctic ports. It added 4 new Arctic Brigade combat teams and 40 icebreakers for use up north, some of which are nuclear powered, with another 11 icebreakers currently in development. The United States currently has 1 icebreaker. The other one is broken. Now, why is Russia aggressive, or Russia being so aggressive at the top of the world? Lots and lots and lots and lots of oil underneath all that ice and snow. And isn't it interesting? Wouldn't it be interesting if when prophecy in Ezekiel 38 talks about trouble for Israel coming from the uttermost north, what if it really means the uttermost north? Just a thought. But speaking of Russia, by the way, researchers there have revealed a new design for a massive new cargo plane. This ground skimmer would carry up to 500 tons of cargo and fly between 10 and 20 feet above the ground or sea. It uses a ground effect to trap a cushion of air underneath the wings of this plane. It would be powered by liquefied natural gas, which is something Russia has a lot of. It hasn't been built yet, but the model has been tested in a wind tunnel. Some are saying this could revolutionize the transport of cargo, intercontinental cargo deliveries. I think it could also revolutionize the transport of military assets. The largest Russian military cargo plane right now can carry about 150 tons. The biggest one we have is the C-5 Galaxy, which has a payload of about 118 tons. Again, this design potentially 500 tons. At an altitude of 10 feet, which is hard to track on radar. Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California says President Trump is working himself toward impeachment. Normally, I'd let this pass because this really isn't news. Representative Waters spoke this way about President Bush as well. Thing is, she is still beating this whole Trump is a Russian puppet drum. And during this press conference, carried on C-SPAN, as you can see, she accused Vladimir Putin of invading Korea. Now, I'm sure you know that this isn't true, but for Representative Waters, we offer this little guide here. Korea is down here in the corner, and Crimea, which is now occupied by Russia, is further away, way over there. Now, despite what the U.S. media has been reporting over the last 3 years, Ukraine has been pushing for a war with Russia, or rather, I should say, more accurately, the neocons in the United States and Europe have been pushing for a war with Russia, using Ukraine as a pawn in the long-running great game between Russia and the West. Except in this particular game, unlike Sunday's Super Bowl, Sudden death really means sudden death. Another place where sudden death has a whole different meaning, Mosul, Iraq. The battle for Mosul continuing. Eastern Mosul, mostly cleared of Islamic State forces, but the city west of the Tigris River still under ISIS control. And that control is sometimes, frankly, horrifying. A morality squad, these burqa-clad women you see back here, called the Al-Qanza Brigade, enforcing ISIS, Islamic State's idea of morality, which means unimaginably cruel punishments for incomprehensibly small infractions of the law. A 10-year-old girl in Mosul has been reportedly killed for stepping over the threshold while she was cleaning her home. You see, in Mosul, under their version of Sharia law, women aren't allowed outside without a male escort. The Al-Qanza Brigade caught this girl, asked the mother if she should be punished or if the daughter would take the punishment. The mother apparently thought that the punishment would be administered by a person, and so volunteered her daughter. Instead, the morality squad produced a device that looks like this. Young girl bled to death. Coming up, your television may well be spying on you. That and more ahead on SkyWatch TV.
Some of the greatest prophetic mysteries of the Bible that the world has ever pondered have now been carefully explored. And the SkyWatch TV store is bringing the exploration to you in the new Mysteries of the Bible Revealed special offer. In this special offer, you'll receive the new book by New York Times best-selling author Joel Richardson, Mystery Babylon. Richardson works through the history of the Christian interpretation of Mystery Babylon, weighing the strengths and weaknesses of each view, and then making a powerful case for a solution to this prophecy that will rock scholars around the world. You'll also receive The Mystery of the Shemitah from New York Times best-selling author Jonathan Cahn. This is a book you can't afford not to read. Cahn explores a possible 3,000-year-old mystery that may explain the timing of 9/11, the lies behind world wars, the collapse of nations, empires, and may hold the key to what lies ahead for the world and for your life. Plus, we'll also include in this special offer the unexplained mysteries of heaven and earth. Join author Ron Phillips as he combines his trademark theological balance with extensive historical research to travel through time to look at the flood, the Great Pyramid, the rapture, and much more. Altogether, this incredible offer holds an unprecedented retail value of over $50. Yours now for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. So now you can explore the greatest prophetic mysteries of the Bible. Place your order for the Mysteries of the Bible Revealed special offer at SkyWatchTVStore.com now.
One of the world's biggest television makers will pay more than $2 million to settle charges that it collected viewing habits from 11 million devices without the knowledge or consent of the owners of those devices. TVs from Vizio contained internet-connected TVs made by Vizio contained automated content recognition software. And without asking for permission, this ACR, automated content recognition, the code captured second-by-second viewing data on these 11 million sets and then transmitted all of that data back to Vizio, which then sold this data to third parties for analysis. But don't think Vizio is the only television manufacturer to be watching its watchers. LG televisions caught collecting data like the names of files on USB thumb drives plugged into the back, and not only that, but file names of other devices on the home network. Samsung, we reported on this about a year ago, issued a privacy policy for televisions with voice recognition software embedded. The disclosure statement included this disturbing remark. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party through your use of voice recognition. End quote. Calling George Orwell, 1984 has finally arrived. Evangers, dog food manufacturer, recalling some of its dog food after a drug that's used to put down pets, euthanize them, turned up in some of its food. 5 dogs got sick, 1 died because of the pentobarbital in the food. According to the company, 15 states are affected by the recall. You can get specific information to find out if this is in your area at the website recalls.gov. That's recalls.gov. Now, the presence of pentobarbital in dog food or cat food is no surprise to you if you've read the book Dead Pets Don't Lie by Joe Artis Horn and Donna Howell. Pentobarbital, used to euthanize pets that have to be put down. Those pets are often sent to rendering plants where they are converted to protein meal and added back into pet food to raise the protein content. The rendering process does not eliminate the pentobarbital. When I was a kid, my dad used to make comments every now and then, which just told me how old he was, that me and my friends wore our hair so long that he couldn't tell the boys from the girls. But now, Dad, wherever you are, well, I know where you are, I can at least say this. We weren't applying lipstick and eyeliner. That is no longer the case. The new ad for Maybelline's Big Shot Mascara features a model with immaculate beard stubble. The male grooming industry now worth $50 billion a year, and it's not just shaving cream and cologne anymore. It includes moisturizers, body hair removal products, concealers. Saw a post on Facebook the other day, somebody asking for a recommendation for a concealer. First thing that came to my mind was a Ruger LCP. Boy, was my face red. Not. Seriously, this is just another front in the enemy's plan to deconstruct God's design for humanity. Very simple. Male and female created he them. I ain't plucking these eyebrows. Now, I admit I'm curious to see how this turns out. Every team in the National Hockey League is now required to have an LGBTQ inclusion ambassador on staff. Seriously. Have you ever watched pro hockey? Those guys take a real pounding. Hockey players make NFL players look like, well, wimps, frankly. I don't mean to stereotype, but I don't think it's a coincidence that there are exactly 0 openly gay players in the National Hockey League right now. But just as we're seeing with the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NCAA, professional sports no longer just about entertaining fans. It's about social engineering, deconstructing God's design. We saw this we're seeing this now even in theological colleges, seminaries. A theological college at Cambridge, the university in England, has apologized for subverting the teaching of Christ by staging a worship service that called Jesus Josie and referred to the Lord, Yahweh, as the Duchess. The service was conducted by trainee priests who delivered the liturgy using gay slang to honor LGBT History Month. Clearly, the service was not approved beforehand by school administrators. The principal of the college said it was hugely regrettable. So in light of the last few stories, this next one is appropriate, I think. Some scientists think that the Earth's magnetic field is about ready to shift, that the poles are ready to flip upside down. And in a world that seems upside down, again, this seems somewhat appropriate. The magnetic field has been losing strength over the globe at an alarming rate. That's a word the scientists use, for the last 160 years. Collapse centered over this blue shaded area here, which is something called the South Atlantic Anomaly, where the magnetic field is so weak that it's a risk to satellites that orbit over it because they're not protected from solar radiation, which can mess with their electronics. A pole shift would affect everything from navigation systems to the transmission of electricity. And a reduction in the magnetic field, which would occur prior to the shift, would allow more radiation in space to reach ground level, which could mean more cancers. Speaking of space, we talked about fireballs in the sky spotted here over the Ozarks early Monday morning. Apparently there were others around the country, more reports than I realized at first, over 170 across North America, as far away as Minnesota, Ontario, and New York. Most of them clustered around Illinois and Wisconsin. The fireball apparently landing somewhere in Lake Michigan, northeast of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. There have also been 3 near-Earth objects that have passed close to the planet in the last 3 weeks. Just asking, I don't know the answer to this question. Could they be connected to Comet 45P, which you see here? At closest approach this coming Saturday, February 11th, Comet 45P will be about 7.4 million miles from Earth. That's about 31 times the distance from the Earth to the Moon. It will be visible in binoculars and small telescopes. Now, as we record this program on Tuesday afternoon, we have guests in for filming on Wednesday. We're aware that at least 3 tornadoes have touched down in New Orleans this afternoon. There's been significant damage and multiple injuries reported, but we don't know the extent of either. We may have more for you on this Thursday. I did think it was interesting while I was trying to get a sense of what was going on by watching live feeds from CNN and CBS, the 24-hour CBS News Network, and for more than an hour after reports started coming in on Twitter about the tornadoes on the ground in New Orleans, both networks were fixated on the confirmation of Betsy DeVos as the new education secretary because of her family connections to Amway and because of the 50-50 split, Vice President Pence casting the deciding vote. It seemed to me that the breaking news on the ground in New Orleans was a little more important, that the argument between left and right over Secretary DeVos could wait. But in any case, prayers for the people in New Orleans, please, because again, we don't know the extent of the damage or the injuries. Some areas still not yet recovered from Hurricane Katrina more than 10 years ago. You'll find us online at SkyWatchTV.com. Links to our social media sites are there. All of my stuff online, including interviews that I do apart from SkyWatch TV at DerekPGilbert.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.